So to talk a little bit more about our specific coursework, I want to go over with you guys. The name of the course is Mobile, Web, and Email Marketing, Marketing 3350. A couple of the students in the class have had me before. I think about 4 or 5 of you guys have had me before. So you can ask them about me and how what you can expect. This course will be very similar to previous courses that I teach. We do a lot of quizzes, and one of the things that is very important to me is attendance. So as long as you attend this class, I predict you'll do quite well. But we do have a lot of quizzes, and if you don't attend, you can't take the quiz, and so it's tough to make a good grade unless you are here every single class or have communicated with me for some sort of very specific reason. So what I want to go over with you guys first is the syllabus. Dr. Johnson, I believe, has passed this out for you guys. So some of the prerequisites you guys are already aware of. I went over my background in education. If you're curious about anything else in my professional or education background, I have my LinkedIn there on the first page of the syllabus. Office hours, all those things. You're also able to contact me on, I put my office phone number there. So email's best, but if for some reason you need to talk with me outside of the normal office hours, I'm happy to schedule a quick phone call with you. It's no problem. So the text for this course, in order to make sure that a text is up to date, there's really only a handful of books because mobile, web, email, all of the digital marketing industry is changing so quickly. It is quite a challenge to find a book in print that's good. So the best book in this area is a digital-only book. I think you guys will really enjoy it. Saves a little money in that some of the other books are more expensive that are printed. So the book is from Stu Kent. You guys will all receive, you probably have already received earlier this week an email from Stu Kent to kind of set up your account. And so the entire text is in that online system, and the instructions are at the bottom left of your syllabus here. You'll get an email from Stu Kent, and they'll kind of take you through what to do from there. So in terms of learning objectives, it's on the second page of the syllabus, top left. I'll let you guys read over those. I want to go over some of the grading practices here. So there will be a total of 14 different quizzes during the class. The first quiz will be in your third face-to-face class meeting, and that will be over Chapter 1. The quizzes will be typically between 10 and 20 questions. There'll be a mix of multiple choice and fill in the blank, and those will be given at the beginning of class. So you have to be in attendance in order to take the quiz, and you need to be on time or you will run out of time to take the quiz, because 10-15 minutes into the class, we'll start class, and I'll pick up the quizzes. So the good news is that I will drop any one of your lowest quiz grades. So for instance, if you happen to have, need to miss a class, that's fine. Communicate that to me in advance and know that will be your dropped quiz. If you miss more than that, please do understand that you'll take a 0 for that quiz. And so the quiz functions also as your attendance grade. There are no exceptions to this. I believe very strongly. We have only about 15 face-to-face class meetings. This is, in this hybrid course. You're expected to attend. So if you do make a decision as an adult that you want to miss a class and have that be your dropped quiz, that's fine. But please do understand that later, if you have some sort of emergency or something like that, that you'll have to, that will also be a 0. So you're not meant to plan to take your dropped quiz. That's meant to take care of, any unforeseen emergencies. With only 15 classes, you're missing more than a couple of classes, you probably need to reconsider taking the course because you start getting into a situation where you've missed 10 or 20% of the face-to-face classes, and it's something I'm a stickler about. You can ask some of the other students that have taken me before. As long as you're here, you'll do well, but I expect you to be in attendance, and I'm very stringent in that policy. So that is where the majority of your grade comes from. The only quiz that is not droppable is the final quiz. That the plan is that I'll proctor that final quiz during the scheduled final class, or rather the final exam period. That final quiz will be cumulative. It's not super high stakes. It's only 5 points. However, it is not droppable, so you can't drop that from your grade. So that's the only one that you can't drop. The rest of them, any of the 13, you can drop. So that is the majority of the of your grade, 65%. If you keep going there, the next 20 points will be your Google certifications. Now, in a different class I taught at UHD, some of the students earned Google Analytics certification. In this class, we'll be focusing on that Google AdWords curriculum and certification. So those are the 2 certifications from Google. Having either of them, for instance, as a hiring manager at CVS in the digital space, I'm often charged with hiring salespeople or support personnel, and as I'm looking at different LinkedIn profiles and resumes, those with Google certification definitely stand out. And during the course of the semester, I'm confident. So for instance, in the last class, every single person earned Google certification. Doesn't mean it's not hard, doesn't mean you're not going to have to study. But in addition to it being 20% of your grade, it will position you for a career in marketing and digital media if that's something you want to do. So it's definitely something that looks really good on your resume. So there's 2 different tests that you have to pass, 2 different tests to become Google AdWords certified, okay? And so in this class, we'll be doing the AdWords Fundamental certification as well as the AdWords Display portion. So the other handout that Dr. Johnson has sent to you guys has the instructions on how to get logged in for your Google certification. So first step is actually making sure you have a Google account. If you have a Gmail account, you're good. You already have it. So before you do anything, you just need to be signed into that. So this paper, it's also loaded on Blackboard. Kind of goes over what you need to do to get your Google login set up. And again, if you have a Gmail account, it's already done. So you need to log in first. So get yourself logged in, and then you can click on the link here that's at the bottom right. That's google.com/partners. Okay? So you can also type it in google.com/partners. And from there you can see there's 2 different certifications that'll be listed on the left. We'll be doing AdWords certification in this class. So then from there you click on AdWords and you'll see the online system for AdWords fundamentals and display advertising. Okay? So you are responsible for completing Unit 1. It's labeled Introduction to AdWords before the next class meeting. And so as you can see, there's 4 different units under the AdWords Fundamentals portion. So that's what you're responsible for is Unit 1. Units 1, 2, and 3 cover all sorts of different topics. Unit 4 is mainly a review. But in order to do well on your, first of all, on your quizzes, all of your quizzes have are going to have questions from Google AdWords, except for the first quiz. The first quiz will be book only, and then the rest of the quizzes will have some sort of representation from the material that's online in Google. So it'll be covered there, as well as the actual exams that you'll take in the Google system. So this online system is pretty good. People all over the world do these trainings. It's a combination of different video content from the industry experts that they include to teach it. It changes every year. Every time I've been certified a dozen different times, and the test and the materials change a little bit. Every 6 months they're a little bit different. And so they keep it really good and updated. This will serve as the online component, since this is a hybrid course. All of your online work will basically be in this Google system. So Don't get yourself behind. Stay up to date with this coursework. The quizzes that I give in class will help you stay up to date because you'll need to make sure that you've covered the proper unit, because there will be a couple of questions each quiz, as well as if you ask any of the students that have done Google Analytics certification, if you try to do all of this, all at once, it can be very overwhelming. And so that's why we have a whole semester to get these two different portions of the exam passed. And again, every single person in the last class, it was the first class at U of H downtown that we did the certifications, every single person earned the certifications. It's very doable, but you have to stay on the schedule. So those two components, the two different exams that we'll take in the Google system, account for 20%. So 10% for the AdWords fundamental certification, and 10% for the Google display. So those are the two. You have some options in there. You have to do fundamentals, and then you can choose to do other things on the Google system that would get you certified. But in this class, you're not allowed to go AdWords fundamentals and search advertising. That's one of the other. You have to pass two tests. The search advertising is an option. In this class, the two that we have to do is display advertising and AdWords fundamentals, because that's what's going to be in your quizzes and final testing. So, in addition to, we'll do in-class lectures that will basically follow the book, save for a little bit of extra information I'll bring you guys in email marketing. Your online coursework is your Google coursework. So on the second page here of your syllabus, this portion that's outlined in kind of pink and white, this is your scheduling. So you can see on the left-hand side has the materials that we will cover in class. The right-hand side has the different exam, or rather in this case, quiz and assignments due. So if you want to know when an assignment is due or quiz, it's all there. It's all laid out for the whole semester for all of our class meetings. You are expected to stay up with it. Don't come to class and say, oh, I'm surprised there's a quiz. There's literally a quiz for every single class starting in the third class meeting. I found if you study for 30 minutes before each quiz, you can easily get an A. So that's the idea, is you'll study a little bit for every class, and you won't have kind of the big giant final exam sort of cramming. You'll be in good shape when we do have that final quiz. So last part that is your grade is a really cool digital marketing simulation that's a part of the Stu Kent book. It's called the Mimic Pro Simulation. So that simulation, you'll get an additional login and password for. I will set that up more towards the middle of the semester. You do have to purchase that as well as the textbook. So there's really two things online that you have to purchase. You have to purchase the textbook the first week of class so that you can be ready to go and have done a little bit of pre-reading for the first lecture that I will give in class meeting number 2 next week. For the simulation, you can wait until we get closer, so we don't start working on the simulation until our 10th and 11th class meetings is when we start working on the simulations. That's when you'll have to purchase your logins for that. And so it's basically an entire digital media plan that you'll put together. It relies heavily in mobile and email. And you'll get the opportunity to work quite a bit on SEO and SEM things. And it's a simulation that everyone in the class will basically be competing together on how good of a marketing campaign they set up. You'll be graded there. 10 points of the 15 will basically be on participation. So and we'll get into that at that time, but as long as you make the proper effort, you'll get 10 of the 15 points. The other 5 points will be based off of performance. And so in the simulation, you'll see there's a profitability aspect that's really the major performance metric. And so that will be graded basically with the top score getting all 5 points, the bottom score just getting 1 point, and then the different top third, middle third, bottom third getting 2, 3, and 4. in there. So that's how there's a component there, just like real life. The people that are the best marketers are going to be a little bit more successful, make a little bit more money, have a little bit more profit, and I think it's important that there's an element of that in the class. So that's the grading, all of the grading components. The rest of the information I'll let you guys kind of go over in terms of ADA accommodations, disaster planning, late assignments. Make sure that you read through, I have it in red here, the late assignments and the policy around that. No makeups are possible for quizzes, all right? There's a lot of quizzes, that's why I drop one. You guys are all adults, but there aren't any exceptions to that portion of the policy. If you guys do have any questions, I'm in California right now. I'm happy to email you back, so you can send me an email. Got my U of H Downtown email there in the front of my syllabus. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. In the first class, the expectation is that you've logged into Google, or rather the first in-person class after this video portion, so class meeting number 2. The expectation is that you will have logged into Google, gotten your credentials all set up, and completed Unit 1, which is labeled Introduction to AdWords. And so that will, after you get logged in and you click on the AdWords portion that's on this first page of your instructions, and then it opens up, and then you click on AdWords Fundamentals, and then you click on Introduction to AdWords. All of those things are circled in red on this sheet. That Introduction to AdWords, all the coursework in there, that's what you're responsible for having completed before our next class meeting, as well as getting your StuKent logins set up and paid for the StuKent book. You don't have to have the simulation yet, just the book, and have done pre-reading for Chapter 1. So I will lecture on Chapter 1 in the in-person class that we have scheduled for next week. For that first class, we'll be doing just the lecture, and I'll answer any questions that you guys have on the syllabus if you didn't email me. And then the third class meeting, so the following class, you'll start with your quizzes. And the quizzes there, again, the first one will be just covering the book, and after that, quiz number 2 forward, some parts of Google are fair game. So again, make sure you stay up to date on your Google coursework. I look forward to working with you guys. I think it's a really cool class, and I hope you'll get a lot out of it. And I'll see you next week.